Hey, what's up? Welcome to Space Couch. Thank you for joining us on a special Monday night edition. Let me just do one little life check system there. Super perfect. Good. Um, I have come down with a touch of death plague. Uh, I went to the space doctor today, spent a little time in sick bay, and I do not have the coronavirus, definitively. So the I do sound pretty MF and rough, so I apologize in advance for that. Oh, hi to everybody in the chat room. I thought YouTube might be down today, but thanks to Tim Brewster for saying hi. We know that's working. Tal from Nuclear Sun is in the room, super good. And Justin Shepard says the theme is awesome. Well, thank you. Um, let's get a little bit of advertising out of the way with Tiger Squawk Records available at tigersquawkdigital.com. The new Industrial is out. It's amazing. New Italy is out. And another one. It's not in the reel yet because I didn't have time. Dark Side of the Conformity out. Even though that event has been postponed, you can still get that. The new Grasp Logic single is amazing. And of course, Otterbat Super Chat is out at tigersquawkrecords.bandcamp.com. Old tour dates up because I didn't get the chance to change the thing yet. That's okay. Okay, you guys, I could not be more over the moon with the guest we have today. We've sort of known about each other for a while. But the stars, pardon the pun, aligned, and everything got together for this show. You may have heard me on this man's podcast, and my fiance and I definitely saw him destroy in Boston not too long ago. Oh my gosh, with the sickness of me saying the word destroy makes me sound like a wrestler. But we'll get into all that. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome MC Lars. What is up, buddy? We can see you.
Is that reversed or is that
No,
normal?
that is spot on. You
Okay,
are
good.
flawless as always. MC Lars has held up a sign that says "I love Space Couch."
It's true.
Oh man, I send that
Hi,
to me.
Brian.
I'll get it tattooed. Hi, what's going on, man? The let's get right into it. The new album is out. The Friendalorians. Tell me about this.
Ooh, thank you for plugging that. Schaefer, the Dark Lord, and I did a new song, and then we went back and remastered and remixed some of our old songs, and we realized we'd had enough tracks to do a compilation.
Oh,
so
cool.
so it's one new song but remastered old songs. You know how that goes.
Okay, totally. Well, what was it like to you're revisiting this old material from like earlier in your life, and now you get to punch up the 5 hertz range or whatever it is. Did you still find that stuff relevant now that you're going back and remastering it?
I mean, it was cool because there was things, especially we did a song about it's called Monsters of Rock, and we put together a celebrity, like dead rock star celebrity band, right? But when we wrote the song, we predicted the deaths of people that then died
Oh,
between
get
now
out!
and then, which made it more
Oh,
kind
wow.
of creepy. So
Yeah,
we mentioned Amy Winehouse and DJ AM, who both died
Oh man.
since that. So that was kind of surreal, but it was cool because I always wanted to make the vocals louder on that. And it's also, you don't want to be like George Lucas, like infinitely changing something
Hmm.
to annoy people. It's a happy medium, right?
Well,
Yeah.
speaking of things Lucasian, let's listen to a little clip of the track "The Friendalorians." Here we go.
Wait, do you plan to
So
leave me with these
you and
girls
I
and
can talk.
boys?
It's
What does
just
this ball do, Mando?
The ship is not a toy.
God, this
a
cover
powerful
art is
orphan,
so good.
A soldier of
Oh.
fortune, running from the
Just-
law, and then a
just
sword and a
flawless.
horseman, out on an adventure.
Whistling birds with a feather.
Two friendalorians, we're in this together. I'm just doing a job,
While I'm unscrewing the knobs.
connected by fate and tracked by dozens of fobs.
We'll keep riding and hiding.
Till the end of our story, and we were destined to be the very best of friendalorians. I tried to keep it quiet, tried to
Joe
avoid
Bowen
violence when
says
the
Lars in
target
the
for
Gospels. I
mysterious
want that
ex-imperial
collab. Well,
client
we'll see.
turned out to be
I haven't seen Lars since his tour with Mega Ran a few years back since science fiction. Miss you, dude. Oh, what's that?
That's nice.
And we are back. And Jesse from Conformco, our tour buddies, are is in the chat room. That is such a good track. Um, and man,
Thank you.
that Mandalorian show just knocked me on my ass, and I'm glad you were able to sort of crystallize it in in song. Was how quickly after seeing Baby Yoda did you decide to take up that mantle?
Well, I wanted to do one like after like the first episode. Then Mega Ran did one like after the second episode, and or third maybe. And Schaefer and I were like, let's wait until until the season is over. And so we started writing the day after the sixth episode aired. That's when we started writing because we wanted to talk about how the season ended. So yeah, pretty fast. And we had to get the CDs manufactured
Mhm.
because you know how it is. Digitally, you can just put something online, but
Right.
we printed 200 CDs and we knew that would have been a short window. So it was pretty quick turnaround, but I'm happy with it.
It's pretty impressive on many accounts. The verbiage used and time for the podcast audience. I am now switching from my Dr. Fate coffee cup to the Iceland touristy coffee cup because I drink a lot of coffee. Because I just did a tour, which is maybe why I'm a little rough sounding, for a big 3 days, and it beat me up pretty good. You did a mammoth tour with Schaefer the Dark Lord. How was that experience for you, man?
Man, well, one of the best surprises was you came out, you and your fiance came
Ah,
out the first night, and you bought a ticket, and that was so sweet. Like, I always, when a friend buys a ticket to your show, it means a lot because they always could be on the guest list. So it was like,
ah.
hey, I didn't know if you were coming for sure.
No,
So it was that was fun to see you.
we were not about to miss that one. That was great.
That venue's cool, right? That upstairs
Yeah,
area.
I had not seen a show in that part of that venue, and I was like, I don't know what this is going to be like, but and we may get into this in a bit. You are such a master of getting the crowd worked up that the mosh pit bit where you like run around the pinball machines and stuff, I thought was enhanced by that space, so it worked out really well for you.
Yeah, that was fun. I mean, that was the first show of the tour, and I was still learning like how far did my uh I brought my acoustic guitar and I had a USB like wireless, and I
Mhm.
realized you couldn't go too far and like stuff like that. It was fun. And Clay, the promoter, he always hooks us up with great shows. And yeah, the tour was good, man. And we were so lucky that it ended when it did. Like we were like, oh, this Corona thing will be over, and then it escalated like crazy, and
Dude.
things got canceled. And yeah, so how about you? You were going to England, right? Are you still,
Uh
or has that happened?
yeah, that's
Like
now been
Sheffield?
postponed a year.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
we had 2020 was going to be like it was set up to be a pretty amazing year for us. Like we had this big convention in Milwaukee, this weekend, like a gaming thing. Like I played with Mega Ran at the same sort of thing in Phoenix once, but this
Yeah.
is the Milwaukee version. That's done. Um,
Ooh.
the England's been postponed a year, and uh, this big con in New Jersey is now been postponed. Um, we'll
What was
s-
the Jersey one?
it's
Was
called
that?
Dark Side of the Con.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, I've heard of that.
it's pretty cool. It's in Parsippany. At like it's a Sheraton Inn, but it looks like a castle. Like so, it's it's
That's
pretty
tight.
goddamn goth. But you know what are you gonna do? We're gonna do Space Couch live from there. Well, that'll probably still happen in September if you're listening and want to know what's up with that. But uh,
Hmm.
even on my little 3-day jaunt in the Midwest, uh, people were wonderful. They were really wonderful and still came out. But like you could tell that there was just this like pallor in the air of are we all gonna die because we saw this industrial show?
Ugh.
So
Was it this weekend or last weekend?
that was this Thursday through
Oh,
Saturday.
so you just got
I
back.
just got back, but so not only did you time your tour exquisitely well with like,
Hmm.
I'm not going to get sick just because I went to a place where more than 10 dudes are. Uh,
Hmm.
you you pulled it off pretty expertly. It sounded like it went well. Do you? How are you now that it's all over? Like, did it feel like this giant thing is like done, or you've been on tour enough that you're probably pretty used to it. I don't know.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's a good question. I mean, I hadn't headlined a lot of these markets, so it was the first time playing doing that. And um, Schaefer, Schaefer, we were doing the live stream, so I'd be driving a lot. So I got kind of tired of all the driving. Um, we ended in Rochester, and then I've been in New York recently, spending time here, and so came back to New York City and just kind of like caught my breath, and I was so grateful the tour went so well, and then everything started happening, and I was like, part of me was like, before the tour, February's not a great time to go out because the snow, but we didn't really have any snow, and the shows were all attended well. The promoters were happy, and I was kind of, how it is at the end of the tour. It's always kind of like sad to say goodbye to your friends, but also I felt this like joy that it went as well as it could,
Mm,
and yeah, and that people responded well to the new song,
totally.
which is the best. So yeah, thanks for asking about it. It was a great run, and
No
we had some
problem, man.
great openers, and yeah, man. I'm blessed. I feel blessed to still be able to do this. 20 years. We've both been doing
Yeah,
this.
right.
Well, you've been doing it a little longer than
A
me.
little about
25?
this. Yeah, 20 years.
Yeah, that's what's up.
That is what's up.
That's
Um,
awesome, man.
any any like any cities jump out for you you weren't expecting? Like New York City is going to be great, but maybe anything that like you thought might was a little bit more lit than advertised.
Oh man, that's a really good question. Cleveland was good, but
Nice, man.
it was great this time. Like, Cleveland's always good, but yeah. Do you know it's this venue called Mahal's?
I know
It's in
of it. I've never
Lakewood.
been.
It's awesome, and they are like all ages. Like, I was struck by, the Double Clicks were one of the supports, and they are
Totally.
so dope, and they have like a lot of younger fans and like non-binary fans and
Hmm.
kids, and that was like they really brought a lot of people in Cleveland. Have you ever played with the Double Clicks? Do you know them?
No, no, I know who they are. They don't know who I am, but I would love to play with them.
They're really cool. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they knew who you are because they have a lot of diverse knowledge of the whole nerd music
Mm,
scene. So I wouldn't be surprised if
good
they're fans
stuff, man.
already.
And I have to ask, just being a fan and watching those live feeds from the tour, like, was the car as cramped as it looked?
Yeah, it was very cramped. I mean, we couldn't. We were thinking of bringing a merch person, but they
Hmm.
they wouldn't have fit. It was cramped. You could see like the merch basically
Yeah,
falling on us.
yeah, yeah. You look like you was like mobile hoarding. It was pretty awesome. Um,
And we didn't scrape up the van. Like typically when you put so much stuff, you return it. In my experience, to be like, oh, your t-shirt racks really messed up the roof. We didn't really hurt. The van rental was not harmed by the overstuffing, in case anyone's interested.
Okay.
So.
Well,
Hey,
Mike Barber says the double clicks were great. I'm so glad Lars brought them on this tour. So shout out
that's dope.
to the double clicks. Uh, what's up, y'all? Hashtag no show Miguel in here. Hi, Miguel. Thanks for watching the show. So, one more tour question, and then we'll move on. Do you have any tips, being the road warrior that you are, that you could impart as far as touring goes onto our viewers?
That's a great question. I think you probably think about this, Brian, that like when you start doing indie music, there's this desire to go out and play for people and sell merch, and that's because that's part of the marketing.
Mm-hmm.
But it took me a while to figure out that not every tour is worth doing, and you got to be smart about your markets and not like I've done ridiculously long tours, 8 weeks, 9 weeks that weren't as good as shorter tours that were like more focused, So making sure you have, I don't know, that you're not going to lose money, even though that's hard sometimes, and that you're playing markets that are going to be good, and that you have new stuff to promote. I think you always got to make your show different. And I know, like watching your show, you put a lot of effort into the videos and the interactivity and the different like lineups, and you got to make sure people are seeing something different because otherwise, why would they come see you again? So those three things, like having something new, hitting good markets, and make sure your show is different, and being thoughtful about it, because you and I are both like energetic DIY dudes. Like we want to get out and go, but you got to be. This tour, I felt like we put a lot of planning into the routing and the show, and so that paid off. So that would be my advice. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, like when you're starting out, you just like, yes, I would love to swing by. Allentown, Pennsylvania, and Boise, because they're right next to each other. Which but like
in a week.
Yeah, in a week. But like, you gotta be like, you allow yourself to make decisions. I think that's very strong. Thank you for that.
And earplugs, man, like that. Adam and his package. I read an interview with him, like advice for touring people. Earplugs, because local bands and opening bands are going to be loud, and you're in a club talking to people. On stage, I sometimes take them out, but when a band is playing or sound checking or whatever, that's so important. Do you wear earplugs on stage or in clubs?
Dude, you are calling me out, and you are right to do so. I should. I don't. Well, but it's apropos to the situation, because I'm a good do not real. Like, I have noticeably taken a hit on my hearing. So like if I'm testing a mix or something, like I'm sure the neighbors are pissed, like because I gotta really crank it up. So be like Lars, don't be like me. Protect your hearing.
But Brian, like having a live, like whenever I've had a live drummer, I put them in.
Okay.
And do you often play with a live drummer, or is it mainly tracks?
I have such a boner in my heart for electronic drums that I am a non-acoustic drum guy. Many bands I love to pieces use them, but they're not my thing for this project.
So so if it's just the monitors, I think it does less damage than like a loud crash or snare resonating feet from your head. Like that one Warped Tour, the monitor mix was never good, so I took out my right ear, and like I went to audiologists. They're like, "Yes, some of your high end in your right ear is not as good." So that tour, that was like, "All right, got to wear them." And I think it's kind of come back gradually, but sometimes my wife will say something and she'll have to repeat it.
Yeah,
because I'm just, I don't know. That's just part of the battle scars of doing this 20 years.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a little bit of a Harvey Firestein voice today still, just because I was screaming for 3 days straight in Madison, Wisconsin, Minneapolis, and La Crosse, Wisconsin, all of which I recommend. Oh,
Was
Carradine.
it cold?
It was so cold. Like
Yeah.
I lived in Chicago for so long, and Boston's slightly warmer, like not a lot, but slightly warmer. And I'm wearing my winter coat the whole time, and people are running around in sleeveless shirts, and I just felt like such a wuss. But I was very cold personally. What's up to Sugar Plum Suicide in the house? Um, yeah, it was
That's tight.
chilly. Like there's still snow on the ground in Wisconsin. That threw me for a loop. But
Yeah, yeah.
the the MC Lars podcast, which is weirdly responsible, I think, for us kind of coming together here on this post Chico Vampiro round two, uh,
Right.
because my buddy Tim was on there, and then like just a friend from high school is a giant fan of yours, and in that conversation with Shoebox, the Gothicles came up, and he like broke out, and that was enough for me to message you. How have you found the podcasting experience, sir?
Oh man, I love doing the podcast. I loved our episode. We did it remotely, and I
Yeah,
think it sounded like we were in the same room. Not
yeah,
to spill the beans, but it's like it's cool how I like it because it lets you talk to your friends, and it lets me also reach out to people I don't know. It's kind of grueling because I do every Monday, but
wow,
yeah, it's cool. I like it. I'm on episode 81
nice man.
today. Episode 81 came out, and I don't ever plan stopping. I don't think I don't monetize it really, but I think it is a cool way to connect with my audience. And I bet it's kind of like Space Couch in that you probably don't make a lot of money from this, but it
No,
maybe you do, but it helps you build the Gothsicles
it
and
helps.
the and your
Yeah, and
Tiger
like
Squawk.
that Tiger
Yeah.
Squawk I was yapping about, and um, this will be like 60. No, this will be 52. Episode
Woo!
52. Yeah, I'm on a pretty good schedule. I got more time now that all these festivals got canceled, but
Right.
I'm having a pretty good time with it. It's if you would have told me 20 years ago people would be interested in just listening to two dudes talk to each other, I wouldn't have bought it. But it's going well. Marcus from Champions of Breakfast is in the audience. You're bringing out all the rock stars today. Um,
That's tight. Hi,
it's
Marcus.
so on this most recent tour and the one you did with Megaran a couple years ago, you done some stuff off the laptop EP, and
Mm.
we'll get into that. But I'm very curious as to what a young MC Lars was like. Was there any indication that you were bound for nerdcore rap stardom? Like, did you write like little rhyming poems or anything like that as a youngster?
Oh, that's a sweet question to ask. I you know I think both of us have this have this in common that a lot of our music is fun and funny and kind of just like representation of who we are,
Hmm.
and might have a proclivity of people to be like, oh, well, that's not real
Hmm.
industrial music or that's not real rap.
Right.
Like, but by staying around for 20 years, we've kind of proven to those people that it can work. I mean,
Fuck yeah, dude.
hip hop is always something I liked. I never thought I'd do this professionally, but I think most of my ability to do that has been the result of being really curious about how the music business works and how the internet can make it happen, and not having patience for people telling me how I should sound or what I should do.
Oh,
So,
fascinating.
do you know what I mean? Like, I didn't like being told how. I like doing things unconventionally, and maybe
Absolutely.
that's good and maybe that's bad. But you probably relate to
I
that,
mean, I
right?
have the word goth in my band name. So like
Right.
when I started in 2000 whatever, like I would get just insane hate mail like you're ruining the culture. Like gee, I'm just some dude in Milwaukee talking about how I like Galaga. Like I don't know that that's
Right.
ruining a culture, but I mean likewise unto you. Like I would imagine this isn't real rap. Like just because you made some brilliant third level pun about Edgar Allan Poe, which you have. Um, do you, what I'm really curious. Did you get like just like some hate at the beginning? Like this is nothing.
I mean, I think, yeah, and I think the early stuff with nerdcore was the fact that, I mean, definitely, yeah, definitely online and definitely in reviews and definitely. I also came at it from, I used to play in punk rock bands, and so
Hmm.
sampling those post-punk bands and the emo bands of 2003, 2004. Now emo rap is a whole thing, but like before that was a thing, I was sampling those bands, and people in that scene were like took umbrage with it because they're like,
Mm,
"Oh, rap, this doesn't,
yeah.
this is not, this is a defiling of Iggy Pop or
Right.
something, right?" And um, so but I never really cared what people thought, and I think that when I learned that, it became a powerful thing, and also
Mm,
working with the other nerdcore guys, building community. That has been really powerful because I don't think Chris and Frontalot and Mega Ran Schaefer and I would still be doing this if we hadn't found each other and realized
hmm.
that like when we team up, it's better,
N-
than
nice.
not. So yeah, man. I mean, like how did you was there a point when you like stopped letting people get to you who didn't think you were true goth, or did you never care?
Um, I mean, you care. Like, I mean, I'm not like completely disconnected from reality that like you don't consider information coming in, but
Right.
I was a
Right.
little bit lucky in that for me at least, it was more like this is what it is. Like I love Frontline Assembly, and I want to make music that sounds like Front 242, but like I really haven't ever been in a world war, and I'm not a vampire, but like I do know how to get 30 guys in Contra, so we're gonna do it about that, and that's what it's gonna
Right.
be, man. Like
Right.
I can't switch it. Like it's hardwired. Pardon the pun. Frontline Assembly. So it wasn't do this or change it. It was either do this or don't. Like and that choice was a bit made for me, at least in my own brain.
Were there any before you like goth or industrial bands that were kind of funny? Because I can't, I think of it being like dark KMFDM lyrics or whatever, but I can't think of, I don't know.
Outright
Comedy seems,
comedy,
yeah, it doesn't see. Can
it's
you mention any?
it's debatable. Well, you have kind of my hero is this band out of Florence, Italy called Pankow, and I finally got in touch with them, and they did a remix of Konami Code,
Cool.
sort of our download this song like this. It's been around for forever, and people always request it. But that was amazing. But they started the year I was born. Like they've been around for forever, and have always just
Wow.
been really silly and weird. And like their big hit is called "Me and My Ding Dong," just like outright comedy. And
What's called Pain Cow?
Pankow, Pankow. There's a German
Okay.
rock band with the same name, so they're hard to
Oh.
find um, in just a Google search. There is, I will. Oh, Fires is in the room and says, "Oh shit, MC Lars for the win." Uh, the um, the There's a documentary out now about Wax Tracks called Industrial Accident, and they're interviewing Groovy Man
Mm.
from My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult, and he talks about comedy and industrial music. I almost stood up and punched the air. I got so excited, but he's like, "Yeah, we would be doing all this crazy shit, like with uh, naked chicks doing the Watusi on like some devil altar, and it's just to be silly and like." He'd be propositioned by like satanic cults or whatever after the show, and he's like, No, no, we were just goofing around, man." Like, but so I think there's always been a
Right.
thread of silliness in industrial music, and there's like dudes like C. Colin Slash and stuff like that sort of commensurate with me, just sort of came out at the same time for like real sort of uh, setup, punchline kind of style lyrics and stuff
Mm.
like that. But
Yeah, it's like you can't be dark and brooding and silly at the same time because then it makes the
yeah,
aesthetic
it's well,
clowny, right?
comedy music in general is a little bit of a tough putt because so much of like comedy relies on hearing a quote unquote joke for the first time, but the idea of music is that you like just you bump it in the car for the 80th time
Oh,
to just like
sure, that's true.
so it's a bit tricky, but you make your stuff so GD catchy that I will throw it on any day of the week. Even going all the way back
Thank
to
you.
the aforementioned laptop EP, which um, on this last tour you did a lot of stuff from that, like iGeneration and so forth. That's like y- y- we've been on the I tip for 20
Right.
years or whatever now. I'm curious what it was like to revisit that old material.
Um, yeah, man. I bet I wonder if you run into this, like having people who come to your show who might be more familiar with your older stuff
Oh, dude.
or
Oh, it's
at
yes.
least connected to it.
Oh, yeah.
And
Like I love that song you did when you were 18. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I want to, and it's like when you do it for so long, you want to respect that people like the old stuff. But so I did it like a medley. I did the
Yeah.
laptop EP medley, so it was all songs from that um, era. And I know like Weird Al used to do the food medley because
Yeah.
people know his food songs. So he'd do a verse from each and a chorus, and so that was like a fun way to mash that up.
Mm.
Because that EP is one I did. I did in my I did live in my dorm when I was in college,
That's so
and it
awesome.
was like, thanks, man. It opened doors, and like those songs are still fun. Like if I hated those old songs, it would be different, right? Like if I for some reason, I don't know. Imagine being someone who makes a song that people know that you just despise, but you
Yeah.
have to play it. It's not that situation, you
Okay.
know. I mean, I like. Do you have any songs that people really want to hear that you hate playing?
Well, I will answer that in a question. It's the fires just said, "Oh fuck," and here I was going to ask about "Single and Famous,"
Oh yeah,
which I thought was funny. Um, far and away, our most well-known song is about getting 30 guys in Contra. It's called Konami Code. Uh,
yeah.
I do not hate playing it by any means. It's just it was really the first thing I did. So I go on this little mental journey of like, you peaked at 18, you suck, you haven't written anything good since 1998, you piece of trash. So I go on like that little journey every time. Um, we've had some wonderful responses, even on this new tour. Like the new album's great. I love this, that, and the other thing. But yes, to answer your question, there are some tracks I do enjoy playing more than others.
Right. That's fair.
So, um, speaking of your live shows, goodness gracious, uh, I don't know if you'll be out and about in the world uh, coming up, but if you ever get a chance to see Lars, do so. Your live shows are insane. The amount of audience participation you're able to get is great. Like,
Thank you.
I know we talked about running around the circumference of the whole venue before. Um, Getting audience members is to do fairly complicated dance steps, like back, forward, left, right.
Oh, right.
Is may not sound a lot like if you're just listening to this or watching this live over the internet. By the way, this is costing billions of dollars to beam the signal from you on Earth there to me out here in space. So
Oh, I know.
I'll bill you
That's
after
good.
the show. But Bill Horst Cotter says I am following Space Couch. Kevin Cole says, "Hey Lars." The so
That's
uh,
what's up. Hi, guys.
the do you have? It's but that the amount of audience participation you're able to get is not easy. Does that come from some sort of innate sense, do you think, or is that honed after playing so many live shows?
Well, it's like that. It's like the Yoda quote, right?
Yeah.
Do or do not. There is no try, right? You have to just hope they're going to go with you. Like, we're going to do this dance. We're going to do the freestyle, and just accept that they will, and know that if they don't, it's okay, because it's okay to fail if people. And sometimes it's funny if you ask the audience to do something and they don't. So I think but you get into a habit of like asking that you know what people will do. They'll put their hands up, they'll run around. Sometimes with the circle pit thing, you have to get like one person to start.
Okay.
But you just hope they'll go with you. It's like writing a song. You hope someone will listen to it, and you trust that they do, and you just kind of like put it out there. And yeah, and what's so cool about the nerdcore fans is that, I don't know, maybe a lot of them don't go to a lot of shows, so they don't think about how it's really cool just to stand in the back and like be unimpressed,
that's
right?
awesome. Yeah, that's the best.
So they're not jaded. I mean, but I wonder I bet you have a select group of fans who get you and like you, but
Yeah.
have you ever been on a bill with like a more serious gothic band, and it's just it's like pulling teeth?
Oh yeah, it's like
Right.
it's like being that one drop of penicillin in the petri dish full of viruses or bacteria, I should say. Like there's like this weird perimeter that like can't be broken, and I've had a cordless mic my whole life, so I used to just jump down to the audience and like, but now I'm trying to do that less because I find out that like now people like know that there's that weird unspoken barrier that they can't get closer than X amount of feet to the stage.
Right.
But yeah, some people really get our shtick and like know that it's okay to move up. Others are like, no, we must stay in the back and be industrial and quiet. Like we just played Madison, Wisconsin in the Crucible, the new venue. It's giant, and people, even with all that space, went right up front. So shout out to Madison. Kevo Cole says Hot Topic is not punk rock. Well done, sir.
Hey.
Candy says Lars got us to do the Bruce Campbell in Philly. Shout out to Philly. Champions of Breakfast, Marcus says, and this is something I want to ask you about. My favorite is live raps with objects from the crowd. People bring the most rad shit for you to rap about. I've seen this happen live a couple of times. Always crush it. Is that's something you developed on tour, the skill to rap about people's pens and iPhones and stuff?
Well, I used to love freestyling like in high school, and I found that it was like a way to entertain my friends, in the 90s. And then when 8 Mile came out, it was like this whole thing about ciphers and freestyles, and it was the whole fun thing. It became popular, right? It was like a trendy thing for a minute around then. And and the object freestyle, I'd see people do it. And the first time I toured with Mega Ran, he would do that a lot. And I saw him do it. And I saw that the audience got a good reaction when, like, if you hold up, what's something like if you hold up a book and then you can say something about like the editor or something about something nerdy, someone holds up a Pokemon card and you know something about it, it gets a good pop if you like add like extra knowledge to it, right? So that's what's fun about the object freestyle, because nerds always have strange things in their pockets typically. So that makes it special because they feel like they contribute to the show. And if you have something really weird, it's fun. But there's also like there's little couplets I use, like if they have an asthma inhaler, I say I'm freestyling, I hope it's not a failure. Only at the Nerdcore show they rock the asthma inhaler. You know what I'm saying? Like couplets that you can keep and or like if someone holds up something from Turtles, I referenced this guy, Jensen Karp. He has this rhyme, jumping over hurdles. It's Raphael from the Ninja Turtles.
Nice.
You get used to like having couplets. So Mega Ran, and rapping with him like really pushed me because he's good, and he's one of those people who like an improv, you want to hold people up. He always encouraged me and would bring me up, and I appreciate it about him as a teacher and a friend. And when I do the freestyle, I shout out that I was inspired to do it by him, because he's good at it. And some people, and I think I've gotten better. When I first started, the difference is doing a simple one word. One is like, that's where you're at. That shirt has a cat versus something complicated. You don't want to make it too simple.
Right.
Then it's like, this person sucks. Right.
Totally.
So, yeah. So that's it. That's probably what I've learned about the freestyle thing. And I keep doing it. And the trick is making the beat be current or something fun. Like I flipped the Green Day basket case sample, like making sure that's musically interesting instead of just a drum. That's important, I think.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Let's do this. If your musical influences, the MC Lars musical influences, all got together to pull off a bank heist, right?
Right.
Who would be who would do each of the following roles? We have like the high tech expert guy that like hacks the whatever, the getaway car driver, the face person, sort of smooth operator, like goes up to the teller, and I need the old school safe cracker with the stethoscope. So like those four things: high tech, getaway, face person, and stethoscope.
Well, I bet Weird Al would be the high tech guy. he's so smart. He'd be the guy. On the computer.
Good call.
The smooth guy would probably be KRS-One.
Very cool. Very cool.
What's the other one? The person who talks to the teller, or who?
That's smooth guy. So like.
Okay. What's the third? There's a safe guy, and what's the third?
Getaway car driver.
Oh yeah. Well, I guess it'd be ICP. The getaway car driver would be Violent J, and the safe driver would be Shaggy. The safe crack would be Shaggy Too Dope, probably.
Fantastic.
So
I love it.
There you go. Yeah, that's a good question.
KRS-One did. Excuse me if I'm mixing my rappers up, but he did the that's the sound of the police. Whoop whoop.
Yeah.
So like he would let everybody know, like when the cops showed up. Like,
that's funny. Yeah, he'd be perfect.
Okay, and I love Weird Al as the high tech guy, like just in the van, like
with the headphones on.
With the headphones, and then people aren't watching the closed camera circuit feed. It just turns into like rotating waffles or like cheese danishes or something.
Right.
And of course, the double team of ICP cracking safes and driving getaway cars, just pouring the Faygo into the lock to.
Yeah, but that would short the circuit.
There you
go.
There you go.
Punch it.
Christian Valentine Ross says, "I need to see this movie now." Fantastic. We'll get right on that.
That's tight.
Kevo Cool says, "Can MC Chris freestyle?"
I've never heard him freestyle, but he's a pretty amazing rapper. I bet he does, but he's never done it. I mean, he'll drop funny lines, but I've never heard him do like an object freestyle. I bet he can, and I bet he'd be pretty good.
I mean, I'd be shocked if he couldn't. Like, he's pretty amazingly talented. I'm horribly curious as to what the writing process is like for you. Like, especially like now versus then, like in terms of what's changed for you now that you're at a different time in your life, age-wise or technology-wise or just availability, like time and during the day.
Wow, Brian, that's a very good question. These days, most of my writing is for Patreon, so I do 2 songs a month. And shout out to any of the Patreon Larsians who are watching. That's what I call the Patreon supporters, the Larsians. I'm doing songs about all the Marvel movies. So and there's so many of them. And I started last year and I'm going until September, and I'm doing everyone in chronological order. But those are very much it's an exercise of summing up the story and then trying to make them modern and trying to connect the songs. And it's very much about connecting the dots and like writing a term paper more than writing about emotional truths. Even though those have it, it's like that's a process of it's more intellectual. But then I'll do a personal song or a you know, something about my life that for my albums that's different. I mean, I think I'm more fearless now, and I think I'm like when I record, I don't have to take as many takes. Like oftentimes, like here I have my mic here, the mic I use for a podcast, and I just rap and I use sometimes my first takes more than I used to. So I'm more productive and I'm more able to make beats and understand music theory than I did. And it's cheaper to make better sounding records now. So I think I'm more productive, but I think that, yeah, man, it's interesting as you get older because it's like when you go to Disneyland for the first time, it's like you don't know what's going to be in the Haunted Mansion. Like I share that story because I went with Schaefer. He'd never been to Disney World, and we did the Haunted Mansion ride, and it got stuck at the scene where the ghosts are having the party.
Classic.
Because there was like, we were there for like a few minutes. I was like, this is like the best place to get stuck. And he was so geeked out and excited about it. And I was like, yeah, this ride is amazing. And it was cool to see it through his eyes again. And my point is that like, it's a lot like that. Songwriting is like going through the motions and trying to remind yourself why it's exciting and surprise yourself and not be beholden to your past work. But I set like a timer, and I always like have to make it a discipline and make part of my day and keep that muscle strong. And otherwise it just, you start making whack repetitive copies of what you did before. Like, how about you? How do you keep motivated and keep excited?
For me, it's keeping a lot of plates spinning. Like the Space Couch thing I do more or less every Sunday. I had a huge schedule this year for the Gossicles before all this coronavirus stuff broke out. A couple side projects. I have many side projects, excuse me. One of them, that album should be coming out soon. So it's just sort of, because I sort of have a pretty scattershot brain, keeping all those neurons firing with information coming in. Like, even if I work on a track for 7.5 minutes during the day, sometimes that's all you need. Like, you're pushing this thing forward, just chipping away.
Yeah.
I want to ask about this. This was really interesting to me. Finding the emotional truth in songs about movies is awesome to me, because I do the same thing. Like, the worst thing for me would be to like figuring out which of the characters' names rhyme and just giving you the plot of the movie back in 4/4 time. Like, I saw it. Like, I know what happens. I don't need any musical bump to this. Like, nothing can be gained. But if you're actually honing in on something, locking on it, and don't let me put words in your mouth, but like shining a light on this part, or this is what this means to me, I think now you're creating new material worth getting on a Patreon.
Man, yeah, that's the thing. And I think with nerdcore, it can always be this, we always talk about, you don't want to make Wikipedia rap where you're
Wikipedia rap. Fuck yes.
Like, that's like, that can be boring because you're just like telling the story and the facts.
Right.
I mean, that's fresh, and that it gives you a guideline. And of course, you can consult those resources, but you don't want to just do that. So, like, for example, the Guardians of the Galaxy song. So I'm assuming you've seen the movie. I can talk about it without spoiling it.
You're talking to the comic book, the fucking Nexus over here.
That's what's up. Okay, so Star-Lord spends 26 years as a scavenger, right? Like, going around, and I kind of thought about, in his position, his mom has passed, and he's got this awesome music he's listening to, but it's lonely. And I thought about like that song I wrote from his perspective, in the perspective of what it feels like to be quarantined, and like imagining what it would be like if I were in space couch. Hey, how it might be similar. So I try to resonate with things that are going on with my life. The other one, what is it? My Captain Marvel song. It's kind of about, that song's kind of about nostalgia for the 90s. And I write it from her perspective, and like yeah, just how it feels to try to prove yourself when you have people who doubt you. So tapping into the characters. And what's also fun about the Marvel songs is taking a perspective that is not a major character. Like Winter Soldier, I guess you could argue that he's a major character, but he's not one of the, when you think of Marvel, he's not one of the first that comes to mind. So how his relationship played out with Captain America, and I thought about that with like my connection to other musician friends, like being an opening act or something. So that kind of makes sense. Like
Absolutely.
Connect the dots, because otherwise it would be real boring if I didn't have it. Here, let me show you something. I have this book that I got this book a few years ago, and it's really cool because it's all the comic book history and the characters, but I try to then be true to the comic material and then like reference how that movies might be different. Doing the research that then allows you to get at those emotional truths it's important.
Amazing.
And that's
hell yeah.
Yeah. So that's what's up.
That's totally what's up. I mean, I was using a Dr. Fate coffee cup earlier just because I've always gravitated toward minor characters like that myself.
Right.
As we're talking now, you have over 40,000 likes on Facebook, so maybe this doesn't apply. But in musically, we sort of allocate ourselves to these minor character roles, like
Right.
so that comedy, rap, industrial music, whatever. That's interesting that we sort of gravitate toward. But that's amazing. Like I'm sort of in love with the idea of Wikipedia rap because it's touched on in that first Guardians of the Galaxy and in the second one a bit. That he's drifting through space with these hard dudes that want to eat him for 26 years and chronologically his mom died like 6 seconds ago in his head, and then we get to the action and it's great, and I'm not trashing that movie, but like that's a really strong thing to write a song about. That's I couldn't that's such a good call. Plug your Patreon once before I forget.
Oh, thank you, Brian. It's patreon.com/MC Lars, and my Guardians song is going to drop this week, and then Guardians 2 is next week. And it's Patreon. I really appreciate any of the supporters. Yours is? Do you have one for Space Couch?
I didn't do it. No, I didn't. I have not partaken of the Patreon world myself. Like during your show, the MC Schaefer said, "Yeah, I had to start a Patreon because it's the law," which I really loved. I just never did it. How are you finding the Patreon experience?
Man, I got motivated to do it by Kirby Crackle. Do you know that guy, Kyle Stevens in Seattle?
I take that back. Another name I know because I drift in and out of dementia/nerdcore. Just being friends with those guys, so like I sort of osmotically absorb it, but I don't know his work.
He does a lot of superhero music, and he's really smart, talented guy. And he was 2016. He was like, "You should get on it. It's cool." So I kind of modeled mine on his, like doing 2 songs a month, and he was like a really good, really helpful, and it's fun because it's pushed me to make more music. I think what is the thing about Patreon is that you don't want to double dip, right? Like I don't want to put something out that I'm then going to put online. And I realized like on Spotify, right, that it's got to be proprietary and that like it's unique to that thing. And so I'm doing twice as much music. But if you have a theme, like doing all the Marvel stuff, and then next I'm going to do all the Star Wars movies in chronological order. I'm going to call it Lars Wars. So
it just feels good. It feels good.
So that's coming out. That will be next. Having a theme that's like you can do over a long period of time is helpful because before I was doing like this song, and I think when people are subscribing to something, they want like Space Couch. They want something that's a format. So that was what took a while to learn. And when I hit this stride with the Marvel stuff, I was like, okay, it's for this. It's for like expanded projects that wouldn't really work as an album and might be, you know what I'm saying, or wouldn't work as like an EP, but work as like a concept. So Patreon's cool. I think if you ever want information or advice, I think you could do really well on it.
Oh, thanks, man.
I think it'd be fun for you to label.
You're kind of selling me on it because a lot of the stuff I do is I don't think albumable. Like this is a 2 minute and 46 second song about my dog. I don't know if I want to put that like on it, like press it to wax, but like
Right.
uh, very cool. Uh, we are on this sort of. Actually, I was gonna bring it home, but I wanna ask. Now that you're on the sort of comic book vector, uh, is there any movie or now I guess Netflix or Disney Plus special you would want to see in the Marvel universe we have yet to tackle?
Gosh, like what something from the comics that hasn't been made into a
Yeah,
movie? Um, well, I mean, there's so much.
there's
There's
so
so much.
much.
What about like Deathlock?
Oh, yeah. Speaking of '90s nostalgia,
Is Deathlock, he's Marvel, right? Or
Deathlock's
no?
totally Marvel,
Yeah.
and he did
That
show
he hasn't
up.
been. Oh yeah.
He showed up
Where?
on Agents of Shield.
I
Um,
haven't watched that,
I
but there
I
you go.
I only know it because a friend told me. I tapped
Okay.
out real quick on that one, but really like really doing Deathlock would be that's such a good answer.
That would be huge. I mean, but like, yeah, I'm googling it now. So Deathlock, like, he he kind of had a short. Like, he's not one of the people really talk about, and I wonder like if, but neither was Guardian, so they could really
Right.
make Deathlock huge. I don't know.
Yeah, when they announced that Guardians movie way back when, I was like, Guardians? That's like that was nerdy among my nerd friends to be into that one when I was reading comic books in middle
Right.
school. And then they made an amazing movie. Um,
Right. And then, but didn't they have like they changed it, right? Or
oh
had
yeah.
they changed it before the movie?
They there was like old school Guardians of the Galaxy um, with like there's a guy named Vance Astro who has like Captain America's shield, and like there's a
Yeah.
cat person named Talon. There's this giant guy named Charlie 27 who now they're slowly weaving it in the second one, like that
Right.
Sylvester Stallone character is supposed to be a reference to the old one, and Ving
Right.
Rhames right
Right.
at the end is Charlie 27. But yeah, they rebooted it because no one cared about the characters. There was like no one was using Rocket Raccoon, and they just like brought him back. And in
And it, yeah, I'm looking through the book to find pictures of the original ones. But they have here's the reboot ones, right? With
yeah,
Rocket and everything, which is so that was a series before the movie
yeah,
that you're saying with
yeah,
Groot and them.
they brought it back. They rebooted before the movie, and then
Okay.
the sort of the movie is more or less based on that. And then they tease Adam Warlock at the end of the second one, so we'll see if he comes back. Spoiler alert, sorry. Uh,
Yeah, no, I was wondering about that too. Like, if you think they're gonna bring Adam Warlock
I
in the
mean, we
mix,
live in a world where Cloak and Dagger have a show. Like
right?
I would imagine. Uh, real quick, Jason Williams says is what you're saying is have platform specific media. And
You talking about the Patreon thing?
yeah, yeah. Are you a fan
Right.
of platform specific media?
I think that, I mean, that's important because then, like, why would someone be on your Patreon if they can get your stuff for free
Yeah,
on
it's true.
Spotify? So,
I
like, and I think that, yeah, that's a good point.
I no, I didn't mean to talk over you. I was just agreeing. Uh,
No, yeah,
the
that's what's up.
and Justin Shepard says maybe we'll see Deathlock in the Morbius movie. Uh,
Oh shoot.
possibly.
Hey, Justin Shepard, I DJ'd this guy's wedding in Rochester.
Oh no
So
shit! Oh
shout out to him and
awesome!
Nora. So
That's
that's tight.
amazing.
He's on there. Yeah, that
Congratulations
was
on your
fun.
wedding, sir.
That was fun.
I'm doing one myself in
When's the date?
October 3rd in Chicago. If the world doesn't end by then, I will. I will be a married man. Caustic will be officiating industrial rockstar Caustic, who I just got to see in Madison, so that'll be cool. Um,
Congrats, man. I bet
thank-
you there's a lot of planning and
yeah,
nervousness.
that's the one of the many plates I'm also spinning. Um, I will throw in that I am very much looking forward to the Moon Knight show. Uh, that's going to be great. Hopefully, maybe it'll be awful. Uh, Justin Shepard.
Do you have Disney Plus?
Yeah, I
you use
do.
it? Yeah, I think it's awesome. All the watching like the Clone Wars and all the Star Wars stuff I missed, and Agents of Shield on Disney Plus. I'm imagining it is.
I possibly maybe I'll catch up. Like I just
Yeah.
it took me. I don't know. I watched the pilot and I was like, I got a ton of stuff to do. I'll check it.
That's
Brian Kissel says, "Give us Lars. We love him. He's very handsome."
love you,
And
Brian.
and Justin says, Nora says hi.
Hi, Justin. Also, my friend Sean Levin, he's joined the chat, and he is a good friend from childhood who was a singer in my first band.
Oh,
who's
awesome.
In Seattle. And he's awesome, dude. So shout out to you, Sean
That's
Levin.
very cool. On this tour I just did, I played some shows with a buddy from high school media class, so it was a lot of talking about stuff that happened more than 20 years ago. So that was cool. Lars, we are on a rogue flight path out here in space, and I'm gonna bring this flying couch back into the space station in just a second. Do you have any closing thoughts for us here on Space Couch? Anything we should be looking forward to, or something that you would want the viewing audience to know?
We will get through this Corona stuff. It's good we're taking precautions. It's unprecedented with how like it feels like the world has gone into chaos. But things that aren't chaotic and things that will always remain, right? If you've seen Frozen 2, right? He sings a song about what doesn't change. Friendships don't change. Love doesn't change. Music doesn't change. And the community of the DIY musicians that like people like you have fostered over the years, and you know the friendships you and I have made together and in the scene, those will never go away. And so it's like good time to check in with like what is important. And I appreciate you having me on your show, and I appreciate you being on mine and promoting my projects. And I think you're a good dude, Brian. So I just wanted to put that on record.
Lars? Oh, that was a perfect answer. Thank you. And not only because it ended with me getting a shout out, but like that was really good. All
we'll
right.
be okay, right?
We'll be fine. We'll be fine.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we'll just take a month off as a planet, and we'll be back. I don't know.
And stream Ages of Shield.
Yes, and that's how we measure time after the apocalypse. Like, dude, I'll be over in half an Agents of Shield. Like, so okay, this is Brian for Lars for Space Couch. Out. We are on the outro credits. I love Space Couch. Says MC Lars. This has been a great episode. I take that back. This has been an amazing episode. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Brian. Okay, cool.
All right, and